Let me say, first of all, that in my short life so far, I have had the honor to be in all the shoes. I was a regional planner, and I know planning at the community level and at the regional level. I was a state planner. I worked in the state planning secretariat with projects at the national level. I was a project manager at the Caribbean Development Bank, and I was a minister in cabinet. The conversation we are having today is a conversation we had in the cabinet. So at the level of the cabinet, certain instructions has already been given, and we have already had a very rigid and robust discussion in cabinet. So the same level of conversation that we're having with you has already took place at the cabinet. So the ministers with the sector responsibility are already on high alert. The accounting officers and engineers must know by now that they too are on high alert. Because this is not only going to stop at the contracting level. This is going to go all the way through the system. We are in the process of determining whether we have a systemic issue or an institutional issue. From my evaluation of the situation, we have neither a systemic or institutional issue. And I'll tell you why in a few moments. But what I'm seeing in reviewing, and I have every single contract that every one of you is executing here, every single contract above $100 million, I have the report on. From day one, when you sign the contract, to today, as you sit here. So, I have this. And what I'm going to talk to you about today is not only what the Attorney General and Minister of Finance would have communicated to you. I want to have a conversation with you too about your business model, your business approach, and how do we do it better. You see, unfortunately, unlike many of you, and I'm speaking very frankly, in 5 years we go back to the people. And the people will judge us based on our performance. And our performance is based on many factors. Factors that involve all of you in this room. And I have committed myself, and the cabinet, we have all committed ourselves to fulfilling a mandate. And that mandate is very elaborate and very comprehensive. But bet your last dollar, there is no way, absolutely no way, we are not going to achieve that mandate. Every ounce of my energy, and the cabinet energy, and the technician energy will be at achieving that mandate in the interests of Guyana and every single Guyanese. And you are a part of that. And you are a part. And that is why we are having this conversation. I am not telling you that you're a part of the PPP Civic. That is not what I'm telling you. I am telling you that you are part of the mechanism that would allow or disallow this government from achieving its commitment to the people of this country. The government and all of you in this room have a professional responsibility to ensure that our plans and program are achieved. That's the first message I want to communicate. And it's a very serious message that I want to communicate. We are one team. All of us in here. We are one team on an agenda to achieve one common vision. That is the proper transformation of our country, the infrastructural transformation of our country. Are we clear? Are we clear? You have a responsibility, the government has a responsibility. You cannot execute that responsibility in exclusion of the rest of the society. Let me tell you some things that I've discovered. You can be penny wise and pound foolish. The first thing is about building capacity. I have seen reports, and I visit projects when you're sleeping. Trust me. I visit projects all over this country. I love visiting. I love seeing what is happening. And what have I seen? And I want you to take this as constructive criticism. That's the only way we're going to move forward. First of all, you have to decide what field you want to play in. You can't want to be a heavyweight boxer and a bottomweight boxer at the same time. What do I mean? You don't want to play in this 100 million and above or 60 million and above project, and then I see you bidding in the region for a $1 million contract and a $3 million contract. Absolute nonsense for you and for us. Because there is something called economies of scale, an allocation of resources, allocation of material, human, financial, and material resources. And if you are a tier 1 contractor and you want to spend the time to allocate resources on a $5 million project, you will bust. Not burst, you will bust. You will not be able to efficiently implement or achieve your outcome. You follow what I'm saying? The first thing in life, you have to determine where you want to play. You want to do the big projects, but at the same time, you don't want the small man to get the small projects. And ultimately, it is damaging your business model. Because instead of concentrating on your targeted area, you're sending scarce resources to do $5 million work. That's the first thing. And I've examined a lot of your portfolio. And I see this. How can you be doing 3 large projects and then you're struggling, running behind the region to get 4 small projects completed? So the first thing is to determine at what level you want. Do you agree with me? You know this problem exists? The second thing is the capacity. I see many of the big contractors without an engineer. You're operating without an engineer. They're here. It's simple. The new contracts would have a clause. And that clause would recognize what is the qualification of someone who can sign off on your work. So the contract will now force you to have an engineer. I agree, you may have good technical knowledge, but there is a reason why an engineer is necessary. And we have to be honest and truthful. You can't put in your bid document that you have an engineer as part of your personnel pool, and then you don't have an engineer on the project site. And then 10 different contractors submitting the same engineer name in the bid document. Don't believe we don't know what's going on, you know. I'm putting you on notice. I'm putting you on notice. So you have to build a capacity. You have to get the right personnel. You have to get the machinery. Now, I don't have an issue with you having 4 contracts at the same time. What I have the issue with is that you sometimes don't understand that the 4 contract has to be done simultaneously. You have to invest in night work. If you're playing at a certain level, you have to be willing to make the investment to allow you to be competitive and efficient at that level. You have to get the tower lights. We have duty on tower lights. I will check if we have duty on tower lights, and maybe we'll allow you a period to bring in all your tower lights duty free, if there is duty. We have duty? Okay. So let's discuss that. This is where the country is heading. You have to work in the night. You have to build your night capacity. Otherwise, you will fail. And I'll tell you why you will fail in a few moments. So capacity is one of the biggest. The quality. You will be marked down on quality too. The country is operating at a different scale of sophistication. At every scale of sophistication, you require higher quality, higher delivery of end product. So, the quality of the project, of the output, would be spelled out, as the Attorney General said, comprehensively in the bid document. And there will be a clause of what is a client and contractor responsibility 5 months later, 6 months later, a year later, in relation to that work, in the contract document itself. And this is to bring clarity. We all have to be on the same page. We must be clear as to what we're doing moving forward. Timely completion. At the end of this year, look, I had a meeting with the contractors doing the Mandela to Eccles 4-lane highway. They weren't working in the night. Suddenly, after that meeting, we have full capacity to work in the night. And we have seen the progress in the last week. Timely completion is important for the government and for you. At the end of this year, we'll have an assessment of every contractor. And we'll have a demerit system. What is a demerit system? The demerit system is that the net value of outstanding work will be transferred to the new year, and it will become your net value of work in progress. That will disallow you from having new contract, or disallow you from a certain level of new contract. That too will be in the bidding document by agents. So if you go over to the new year with $500 million of project that was supposed to be completed and is not completed, it becomes a demerit factor for you. So you can fall from a tier 1 contractor back to a tier 3 contractor. And you have to work your way up back to tier 1. So that's another system, a demerit system. And I'm here being very open and transparent with you. The third, well, not the third, performance-based award system. In addition to price and technical qualification, there will be a performance-based award system. And let me tell you, by the touch of one button, we can tell the value of all the contracts that are awarded per contractor. So you'll have a performance-based award system. That also will be incorporated in the new bid document. Now I want to talk to you a bit about, and I want you to understand, I know the Minister of Finance did this. I want you to understand what is going to take place in this country and why it is so important that we pull our socks up, and why is it so important that we have this conversation. First of all, Anil spoke about the local content legislation. In the local content legislation, more local opportunities will be opened up to you. I don't know if Geico contractors, Geico Construction is here. Oman, yeah. He will tell you, there's a report on contractors here in Guyana. One man doing transportation services forged the compliance, the truck compliance that you have to give. The local content legislation is going to open up tremendous opportunities for you. Let me make it clear, tremendous opportunities for you. That will even deplete our contracting pool for you. So there's two ways you address this. The first is that you adopt a winning culture, or the second is that you stay where you are, be happy, and slowly be pushed out of what is happening. To adopt, you have to invest, you have to grow yourself in quality, in equipment, and understand what is coming at you. That Demerara Harbour Bridge alone would require so much of concrete. It will require so much concrete that all our plants put together right now would not be able to supply. One project. Imagine the impact on other projects that we have. One single project, the Demerara Harbour Bridge, will require so much of concrete that all our plants together, all the concrete plants we have together now, will not be able to supply. And don't let me go to the hydro. The hydro project, we are nowhere close to having any capacity in supplying the concrete. You follow me? That's just two projects. Imagine the impact down the line for other projects. The government investment program has many different levels. And I'm only speaking about infrastructure today. Our national infrastructure transformation is going to set us on a pace and trajectory that is second to none in the world. I am talking about a four-way highway, new four-lane highway from Schooner to Parika. A new Damrar Harbor Bridge, a four-lane highway from, so far we've already committed to Busby Dam, from Busby Dam, coming all the way back to Ogle, going all the way down back to Cane Grove on the East Coast. I'm talking about an expanded new four-lane highway on the Quarantine. I'm talking about an industrial estate that will require billions of dollars in contractual service. And I'm speaking here only government investment. All of this in the next 4 years. And these are highways I'm talking about. Then I'm talking about Forest World schools. More than 30 new schools all across the country. I'm talking about more than 8 new hospitals across the different regions. I'm talking about billions of dollars in hinterland roads. I'm talking about billions of dollars in community roads. I'm talking about hundreds of millions of dollars in farm-to-market access roads. These are just government investment. The scale of investment, the scale of projects, the scale of investment is mind-blowing. I'm talking about a new, second to none, world-class maternal and children hospital. I'm talking about the construction of 25,000 new homes. The infrastructure to develop 50,000 new house lots. I'm talking about the commencement of building of a new city. The building of a boardwalk, city fences. This is the scale of investment that we're talking about, that you will be a part of. That is why you have to pull yourselves up now. Listen, the time when you spend 4 hours on Friday or 8 hours after you finish your construction to drink 6 bottles of scotch is over. Those days are gone. You can go and have your entertainment, but not 9 hours of it or the entire weekend. Or Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, and come back to work on Wednesday. Those days are finished with. Speaking very frankly. You have to have your entertainment time and a balanced life, but the balance has to be more towards what has to be achieved. And this is not about you alone. At the level of the presidency, it is the same effort that is required. And that is what we are trying every day. I speak to cabinet every single day. That we have to lead by example. That is why you see the ministers in the field. The scale of what is going to take place, the scale By the time we get up to 2024, every single road in this country must be lit up. Every community must have lights. The cost of electricity would come down by 50%. You know what that will do for manufacturing? What that will do for you? You have to start integrating your business model to have capacity to do high-level welding, putting up of plants. This is where the country is going. I spoke to you only about 2 massive transformative projects that will eat up everything we have, what we can produce now. Hydro and the Demerara Harbour Bridge. Imagine the gas to shore project. I've spoken to you about the gas to shore project that will take every single welder the country has to be completed. And we have committed to training those welders and giving them the certification to work on this project. The power plant, the new power plant. All of these are separate and apart from what the Minister of Finance spoke to you about. That would add more pressure on the system. But I just want you to understand the opportunity that is ahead of you. And then in the private sector, I haven't spoken about the investment in drainage and irrigation and sea defenses. Billions of dollars will be invested in sea defenses. Right now, we don't have quarry material. We've given out a number of licenses, and we're hoping that we can push local production as quickly as possible. In the interim, we may have to find a solution where, and I'll come to that in a moment. Let me not go there. In the private sector, we have shore bases, deep water facilities, hotels, resorts, all, some under construction and some will start next year. All of these will add pressure. All require sand, cement, stone. So in your modeling, you have to take all of these things into consideration. And let me say this on transport and logistics. I'm just going to give you an example. How the logistics industry works. So if you have banks DIH, DDL, or the other one, DDL, the one with Rhodesia. Let us say you have Rhodesia, banks DIH, and DDL. All of them has to take beverages to Linden. I'll give you an example, okay? So all of them would deploy 3 trucks to Linden every single day. So they deploy 9 trucks. So let's reverse that. Let us say, Mr. Mark, there for example. Let us say you go to them and say, okay, the 3 of you are deploying 9 trucks every day to Linden. I'm going to give you 1 truck that will take all 3 company products to Linden. So you get a long hauler and you take all 3 company products to Linden. You follow me? Think about the savings for the company. Think about the efficiency you just gained. Think about the cost reduction you just gained. The wear and tear on vehicle, maintenance, road. Now, but what that calls for? That calls for critical and integrated thinking. And we have to ask ourselves, do we see ourselves as an industry or as competitors? It's a critical question for you to answer for yourself. How do you see each other? As part of an industry or as competitors? After the bid, the competition is over. Then the industry thinking has to kick in. When the industry thinking kicks in, and 9 of you are working in one community, instead of you having 9 security companies, come together. You may need one vehicle of security patrolling the 9th project area. But it requires a shift. I can't tell you what to do. You're all big people. So what is required from us moving forward? I just mentioned the first. It's a shift in thinking. Whilst we're developing, we have to start thinking and operating as if we are first world. Because unfortunately, that is how people are judging us. Because of what is taking place as a result of oil and gas, everybody is judging us as first world. Last week we met investors after investors from every single corner of the globe who are hungry to come in. We had investors who came in for a meeting, did not have hotel room, went back to sleep in Trinidad and came back to Guyana the next day for the meeting. I just came from a delegation of more than 20 from Ghana. Do not sleep on the development drive. 8 hours of sleep is too much for you. Trust me. You need 5 hours. Take the 3 and go to work. That is what is demanded. Do not be aloof. Do not look to buy a Land Cruiser as soon as you get your mobilization. It will come. That doesn't help your business model. What type of vehicle you drive doesn't determine how successful you are. And I'm telling you this frankly. I've seen people fail because of their business model. I know we have Trinidadian friends in the room, but I'll tell you my frank opinion of a business model that fails. A business model that fails is when you build your model to move this bottle from here to here at $100, when the real price of doing it is $10. Not because you're the owner of the contracting company, you and your son and your engineer need to turn up with 3 different SUVs on the site. It's a waste of resources. Rethink your business model. Nothing is wrong with owning the SUVs, that is good. But rethink your business model for your own company's sake. Please, I'm appealing to you to do this. Your business must have a core cost center. Divide your businesses into cost centers. If you want, let us get a professional to come in. Let the Ministry of Finance help you. Run a crash program on project management and managing cost centers. The private sector can do this. If you think this is an area of deficiency, let us work on correcting it. So you need a shift in thinking. We need also a shift in culture. Frankly speaking, we have very talented people. But do we have talented, committed people? The guys who are doing the houses, they come to me and they said, you know, We started with 2,000 skilled and unskilled workers. Now you can't find them. They've made enough money to enjoy life for the rest of the year, so they're gone. Frankly speaking, that culture is a losing culture. The culture when you come to work and there's sport whole weekend and miss Monday, or all they're doing on Fridays looking at the time, we gotta get out of this place just now. We have to create a winning culture in this country. You have to create a winning culture in your companies. It requires a shift in how we operate, how we do things. Now you may say why the president is spending so much time talking to you on these issues. I'm spending so much time to talk to you on this issue because I want you to be successful. I want all of us to be successful, to be better at what we do. And we are turning the screws up not because we don't like you. We are going to turn the screws up because we know you have it in you to be successful. And we want you to be better. And then our attitude. I see some attitude from contractors. They don't take meetings seriously. They don't even take the letters from the ministry seriously. And then I see some attitudes of engineers and accounting officers too. They believe that they're God's gift to the world. And sometimes contractor has to make them feel as if they're God's gift to the world. Then I've seen contractors who believe that they can do it their way. Not in every case, Frankie's song is appropriate. Did it your way or did it my way? In the case that we is doing it in the way that the people will appreciate it. So the attitude needs to change. Our commitment needs to change. And that commitment is not about you doing a project. The commitment is not about you doing a project. You know, some of us, we believe that, yeah man, it's a contract we got with the government, we do it and we walk away and that's it. What about your national commitment? What about your patriotic pride? 50 years from now, your children would walk down a highway and say, my dad was part of this. My mom was part of this. What about that national patriotic drive in us that should push our commitment? Your commitment is not only about making a profit or executing a project. Your commitment must be the joy you derive from being part of this national patriotic movement, contributing to your country transformation. Your business model must be integrated. I spoke to you about that. How do you handle your transportation and logistics? How do you handle your material management? Your business model has to be integrated. And your business has to be robust. It has to be able to withstand different shocks. We don't have control over supply chain. We don't have control over climate change. We're veering by the pattern. But there are some things we have control of that can mitigate against both. So you have to say, for example, I'm doing a project. Rain falls today, someone say we close down the project site. Nothing happens. Rain falls tomorrow, we close down the project site. Nothing happens. But what about finding project activities that does not depend on the rain? Like the stockpiling of your sand. That is how you have to manage a project. You have to have mitigating factors. Now, labor, for example. Is labor a problem? Is labor a problem? All those who think labor is a problem, put your hands up. Less than 30% of the room believe labor is a problem. Less than 30%. So that 30%, you have 70% who believe that labor is not a problem. So something is wrong. We have a national database. We have the Ministry of Labor. Let us put together a list of what you need that you think is short. And let us develop a national database, and we'll publish it in the newspaper that these are the skills we need immediately. And if within 3 weeks we have no response, then we have to develop a strategy to bring in labor. Some people say the government should import labor. But right here, I just did a poll. So if we have a shortage that is real, then we have to make a decision. But first, we must get all those services in. Material, efficiency, and integrated management of material. So, if stone is a major issue, then we should say so, and we have a commitment from all the contractors that if the government pre-purchase 500,000 tons of stone, that you will take the stone back from the government. We have to find solutions. You may not have the capacity to use up your cash flow for 500,000 tons of stone. But if the industry is committed to such a pathway in the short term until we start producing enough to meet the demand, then we have to make those decisions. Then our use of technology. We have to start looking at technology that is appropriate for our infrastructure development. So, my dear friends, this is the last warning. Things will change, and it will get tighter and stronger. There will be consequences, and there will be effects at all levels. I've asked for this meeting to communicate to you directly that we want safe passage for all. For that to happen, it requires some immediate and necessary changes. The ball is in your court. Thank you very much.